Today, I wanted to talk about 5 things to do to help prevent and treat panic attacks in the moment. If you've ever had a panic attack, you know it's the worst thing in the world. Like when I used to have them, oh my gosh, I would wake up in the middle of the night, heart racing, or just all of a sudden you're sitting. It's always like you're relaxing, you're trying to just chill out, and then you just feel it. You just feel like the heart rate coming and everything just starts increasing and it just gets to be a lot. So today I'm going to share some tips on stopping that or preventing it. You know, it takes work. Everything is not going to happen right away, but you can do it. I did it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. So first is box breathing or deep breathing in general. I'm using box breathing because it's easy to remember, like box, a square, it has 4 sides. So let's talk about breathing and how it works. So breathing helps with the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So let's kind of just start there for like the beginning of anxiety, right? So basically, we want to think of anxiety as being natural and normal, which it is. We have anxiety as a survival mechanism to help us if we need it. It's basically the fight or flight. It's our sympathetic nervous system activating because there's some kind of threat. Now, it tends to get to anxiety when either that threat goes away and the symptoms stay there, or it's a threat we kind of made up in our head. Like we're worried about something, we're fearing something, but either it hasn't happened or, it may not even exist. It could be anything. Like for instance, once I was on a plane and I kept picturing the plane blow up. I know this sounds crazy, but planes are like my fear. So I was on the plane and I kept thinking to myself, what if this plane just blew up? What if it just blew up? And it wasn't, yeah, potentially it could happen, but it didn't happen. And it was like I was just making it in my head. And because of that, I started to get anxiety, right? But that's what it's supposed to do, because really, if there was a bear, I would get the same reaction, and it's allowing my body to like rev up so I can fight, flight, or freeze. A freeze is bad. No one wants to freeze, but it does cause that as well. Other than that, it increases our heart rate, blood pressure, increases as our hearing, even in our vision. All sorts of hormones start going off, coming out like epinephrine, cortisol, different things that allow us to kind of be like a little mini superhuman for a moment while we get through that situation. The bear goes away, it goes back down. Everything is fine, right? That's what's supposed to happen, but it doesn't. So how does breathing fit into this? So basically, when you start deep breathing and you're in a stressful situation or a stressful mood per se, feeling anxious, having a panic attack, breathing helps to regulate balance, basically. It helps to decrease the sympathetic nervous system and increase the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest or digest. Or if you just ate, is when you feel the itis. That's your parasympathetic nervous system. You feel tired, you feel more relaxed, and that's what we want to do. So we deep breathe to do that. So when I started breathing, I didn't know it was so much of a big thing. I would just hear people say, do some breathing. And I just started breathing deeply in and out. So I would just make sure to breathe in as far as I could. I would hold my breath as long as I could, then I would breathe out. And like the tenseness of my body, my heart rate and everything started to come down. Now, that may have not been the best way to do it. It's super like rudimentary, like just breathe, hold, let go. It wasn't like let go slowly or anything like that. So I don't know, but I would say, look, if all else fails and you're like freaking out, just deep breathe. Don't worry about any kind of method whatsoever. Just deep breathe, especially if you haven't practiced. Because there's no point in adding on anxiety because you can't remember how to do something, right? It doesn't make sense. So anyway, let's talk about box breathing. Like I said, it's like a square. It's used by even Navy SEALs to help them think clearly, decrease like a rapid heart rate, and just get everything under control. It helps you to focus. So if you're, okay, let's do some breathing. And we'll just do the box breathing method. There's lots of different methods of breathing, but this one is the most easy to remember. So it starts off with 4 seconds of inhaling, 4 seconds of holding, 4 seconds of exhaling, and then basically 4 seconds of holding. So if you're new to breathing, you may want to start by putting one hand on your chest and one on your stomach. And it's mostly so you can feel your stomach go out when you inhale and go back in when you exhale, like your diaphragm. Because sometimes unless you think about it, you don't really realize if you're deep breathing or not. Like I said, unless you really think about it. So let's try that. So we're gonna inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. So let's try it. So inhale. Okay, so that was the 4 sides, and that would be 1. Like, that'd be like 1 repetition, but try to do 3 to 5. You can really do as many as you want, as long as you don't get like lightheaded or anything like that. But at least 3 to 5, because 1 is not necessarily gonna do it. So when it comes to other types of breathing, usually as time goes on, when it comes to other types of breathing, the exhale tends to get longer. Like you may have like a 5-7-8, which is 5 inhale, 7 hold, 8 exhale. The longer the exhale gets, or the slower the exhale gets, the more effective it's supposed to be, or more relaxed you will feel. However, when you start inhaling less and exhaling more, you also can get very lightheaded, which, you know, as long as you're watching it is fine, but not really for beginners. I want to say though, the times when I had panic attacks and I started to breathe, one thing I could not do, I don't know, everyone's different, but I had a hard time sitting still, or like my heart would be racing so much, and it's like when you're still, or when I was still, I could just feel it more. So that probably wasn't a good idea, but I would get up, walk around, and then try to breathe. I don't recommend that, even though I think it feels more comfortable because, like I said, you feel like the pounding of your heart. Like when I would lay down to sleep, I would feel the pounding of my heart on the bed. I thought, oh my God, this is horrible. So I don't know. If you're having a panic attack, you may just want to sit up and start doing the breathing and just let yourself calm down and relax. And because your thoughts are racing, everything is going quickly, it feels like your chest is going to explode. Try your best to focus. Next is activating the vagus nerve. So this is a lot. The vagus nerve does a lot. It's the longest nerve in our body. It starts in our brain and it goes down to our large intestine. If you were to massage your vagus nerve, which would help to activate it, which is what we want to do. I think activation in anxiety sounds weird, because you already feel so activated, but we want to activate the vagus nerve to start relaxation. It also does what breathing does and helps to steady or lower the sympathetic nervous system. So if you were to hold right here, this little flap of skin in front of your ear, I forgot what it's called right now. I think tragus or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, if you were to hold here, like say your middle finger, and then put your index finger behind your ear, your vagus nerve comes down through here. So you can massage it to help activate it, to bring on relaxation. When I do it, I don't know, I don't really feel anything, but that's not a normal thing for me, and it feels super weird to me to massage that area. But one of the quickest ways to activate your vagus nerve for me in the most dramatic way was cold. Like if I had a nighttime panic attack, jump in the shower, cold shower, throw cold water on my face. If I was out somewhere and I was feeling the panic attack come on, 'cause for me, panic attacks made me feel really warm. And so that's really why I started with the cold. Like I realized, oh my God, this feels so much better. But I didn't realize I was actually activating my vagus nerve when I did it, but it worked. And that's a really good way. You may see people on TikTok, they have like a cold water challenge, like bucket challenge, where people put their head in water. Yeah, that would work great, but I don't recommend you do that. A cold shower works fine. Or even if you get ice and rub ice like up here in your chest, down here where the vagus nerve is, it'll also help to activate it. Another way to activate it, which people may like, not something that I can do very well, but sing, chant, gargle, hum. The vagus nerve is attached to the vocal cords. So these activities also help you to relax by activating the vagus nerve. So for people out there with great voices, they probably are more relaxed than the rest of us. So yeah, throw that in there if you're ever somewhere, throw on a good song and start humming. It's not as strong as a response as saying like dunking your head in water, but it can help if you're out and about. At home, you may want to try something stronger, such as the breathing, such as the cold. Some other ways to help to activate your vagus nerve and help just in general is meditation and yoga. But meditation and yoga kind of intertwine the deep breathing in it because it's a part of the practice, that it's kind of just a lot of things mixed together. Because a lot of times when people meditate, they have to focus on their breathing, right? They purse their lips, and then a lot of times they'll chant, they'll pick a word or something like that. So all that together helps, as well as focus your mind. So if you meditate, you are activating your vagus nerve as well. So keep that up. Let's go on to the third. The third is ingesting relaxing substances. And I don't mean weed and alcohol. I'm talking about things like teas, herbs, things like that. My most experience in those situations, like panic attack situations, is chamomile tea. And mostly because it's accessible all over the place. Like you can go to Starbucks and ask for a peach tranquility and it has chamomile in it. They used to just have chamomile by itself, but they don't anymore. Like you have to ask for peach tranquility. Or if you go anywhere, you can buy it anywhere. It's easy to get, super easy to make at home. So that was a big go-to for me. I also used to do red wine because red wine has tannins in it, which cause you to relax. But, it depends on how much alcohol you're ingesting, because if you ingest too much alcohol, it makes the anxiety worse. But if you just have a little bit, it'll probably just help to calm you down. So a lot of times I would just mix all these things together, especially if I had a 2 a.m. panic attack. I would, my boyfriend at the time, I would ask him to make chamomile tea for me while I was in my cold shower doing deep breathing. That worked great. It was still, a lot, but it worked for me at the moment. Some other relaxing ingestibles you could use are ashwagandha, passion flower. There's a whole bunch of different things. Magnesium even. And also decreasing your caffeine. There are definitely things that you can take out of your diet that help to decrease anxiety and panic attacks, such as bad food, bad drinks. Too much caffeine for someone, it gives us energy. It causes us to rev up. It also causes our anxiety to get worse. So if you're having panic attacks, but you're doing the caffeine thing, you may just want to cut that. There were times when my anxiety would go down, so it wasn't so bad. And then I would start drinking, I don't drink coffee, but I drink tea and dark black tea, which still has a good amount of caffeine. So I did drink lattes in college though. If I had 2 lattes, done, like totally jittery. So just be mindful of that. Next this is a prevention and also a treatment at the same time. It's being outside and being active. So exercise, I think a lot of people are familiar with exercise and just increasing good health in general, but exercise also relaxes us. It increases the vagus nerve activity and heart rate variability. We want to have heart rate variability. It's considered healthy. It's like if you run a mile, your heart rate should go up. And after you've been sitting for a while, your heart rate should go down. It shouldn't stay up. You know what I mean? Sometimes athletes work out a lot and they have low heart rates. That's fine. That's a different reason. But if you sprint and you stop, your heart rate should be coming down. If it's not, that's a problem. Okay, so sometimes if I had I used to have panic attacks all the time. Like morning, noon, and night, these things would come. Depending on the weather, if it was cooler outside, I would step outside at night with maybe just a tank top on or just a t-shirt, and the cold and just being outside would help. Grounding really helped. Like going outside with no shoes on, even though I'm not really for that. I didn't grow up that way. I wasn't like one of those little kids that was running around with no shoes on. My parents didn't really do that. But it feels so good. It feels so good, especially when you're anxious and panicked. So try it. Walk outside, do your deep breathing, look at the, trees, the moon, the stars, anything. Appreciate the beauty of the earth, and then come back in when you feel better. It works very well. It's also the cold. Some people, when they get anxious, I hear they get cold hands. Their hands might even get cold and sweaty, which is weird. But I mean, I didn't really ever get that. So if I got hot, I would sometimes get very anxious. Like everything would kind of ramp up for me. So if that's you, keep the cold in mind. If you have to walk around with a cup of ice, just walk around a cup of ice. I mean, people don't think anything about you having a cup of ice. They don't think you're using it for relaxation. They just think you want some ice. So that's always good. Fifth way to help with panic attacks is deal with the elephant in the room. Whatever probably first came to your mind when I said that is probably the right thing. You have to fix the problem, ultimately. That's how you get panic attacks to eventually go away. Because yeah, you can treat them all day, but there's some reason why they're happening, and they don't have to be happening. You can let them go. So make sure you have to think about your life. What's stressful? Is it work? Is it a relationship? Is it school? What is it? Is it home life? Is it not? What changes do you need to make? How much self-care are you getting? What are you eating? Are you drinking enough water? Are you working out? You know, all of this are things we have to think about because our body is telling us something. It's feeling a threat. It's feeling like, you know, something's wrong, we're under siege, and it wants us to fix it. It's like, fix yourself. That's what our body is saying. So we need to listen at times. Unfortunately for me, when I was going through that and I decided, you know what, I can't live like this anymore because going on 20 years was too much. Even though my anxiety started before this, it ended a lot when I ended one of my relationships, because at the time it was just the thing that was making life hard for me. Maybe relationships just always made life hard for me. I don't know. You know, maybe that goes into like thinking about attachment styles, which is a whole nother discussion. But that is what really helped me. I had to make sure to fix the elephant in the room for me. And when I did that, I really stopped having panic attacks. Like I still may have had them every once in a while. It's been a while, so I don't remember so much, but for the most part, they stopped. So don't forget that. Also, I want to throw in a quick little bonus. This would be tip number 6. But for a quick little bonus, have someone you can talk to if you're having a panic attack. I would call people. Like, I used to have panic attacks in the car. That was probably the end of my panic attack history, were car panic attacks. I don't know if I was feeling the claustrophobic or I was scared to drive. I don't know what it was. I didn't have any traumatic car accidents or anything like that, but I suffered with that. And so I suffered with that, and I would pull over on the side of the road, parking lot or something, and I would usually call someone. I would just ask them to talk to me. Tell me a joke, tell me a story. Sometimes we would just talk about my day, depending on, you know, because sometimes you have bad days, and then talking about that stressful time, for me, made it worse. Sometimes people feel a lot better when they talk through things, but when you're feeling panicked and you're trying to talk about a bad situation, for me, that was a no-no. I want to hear about the best thing that happened to someone that day. That's what I want to hear about. I would also continue to do my deep breathing. The deep breathing is a foundation. We cannot forget that. So everything that is here, the deep breathing is first and continues. So we have 1, deep breathing. 2, activating the vagus nerve. 3, ingestible relaxation agents. 4, wait, did I get that right? 4 is being active and being outside. 5, taking care of the elephant in the room for you. And 6, having someone you trust to talk to and call when you are feeling that way. So these are 6 tips I wanted to share. If you have panic attacks and you want to talk about it, or you need any help or advice, I have a consultation call, which, we can get on, talk about that. I also have a program to help mothers and women in particular, because I'm a woman, deal with their anxieties and their stressors and help to get through a day, every day, and be as productive as possible. Because as mothers, a lot of times we can't look past our children or, our families to get what we want. And we need to be able to get what we want, or we can't be happy for them. So I'm here to help you with that. So please hit the link at the bottom. If you want to reach out to me, it'll take you to my calendar and we can set up a call. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you're having a great day.